Welcome back, everyone. I'm Bailey.
And I'm Raquel.
And this is the Whole Shebang podcast. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Whole Shebang, where we are going to be talking about our education today.
I'm so impressed that you remembered. You gave me a look and I was like, she's going to be like, what are we doing? I'm so proud of you.
I have my moments.
I didn't have to tell you 3 times and then you didn't forget it immediately.
Yeah, I have my moments.
Anyway, so something weird just happened and Bailey remembered what episode we were on and what we were talking about. So this is going to be actually a 2-part episode series. We have some special guests, some that you've met, some that you haven't met, who are related or affiliated with us, who are going to come and they're going to sit where this beautiful plant is and talk about their education journeys. But before we do that, we are going to talk about ours. So I have a list of questions which I've asked each of our guests. And it spiked on some pretty interesting debates, so we're not going to get too much into it because now we kind of know already where we're going to go with those conversations. But I thought a little bit of background, because Bailey and I, in terms of education, are what you would call polar opposites. And I think it would be kind of fun because we are both sides of the spectrum and our guests kind of fill in the middle. So let's just answer these questions together. We'll go through each question one on one. So what did you study in school?
So I have up to a grade 12 education. And when I did apply for college and university, I was accepted to the college. Mm-hmm. I think it was culinary.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, you didn't know that?
No.
Yeah, so I was accepted at the college, I think, for culinary, because I was going to do their culinary program to become a Red Seal chef. Yeah.
Your dreams and your ambitions are so wild, Bailey.
And then when I applied to university, I applied for I was going to major in psychology. And
I recall this.
And, what was my minor? Philosophy. My minor was philosophy. So I was going to major in psychology, minor in philosophy. But I actually only went for about a month to university because at the time I had started my own business and I was running that and it was all online because of COVID, and dropped out after about a month, and I have not been back to school since.
Do you think if you were doing it in person instead of online, it would have been...
Oh, 100%. 100%. I did find too, I did take quite a while to go back to school after high school. Mm-hmm. And after living my life, getting back into the academic mindset. Yeah. Mm-hmm. When we were writing papers and everything else, it had been so long since I had done it that it was almost like an entirely new learning curve.
Which is interesting you say that, because I have people in my first year courses that I teach who are, our age or older coming back to school. I've had 70-year-olds, and they're usually the most astute students you can get. They're very passionate. It's because I find those people who go in already having had a career or, having a pathway, and they've changed their minds and they're doing it solely because they want to and not because they feel obligated to, are some of the better students. Because when you want to be somewhere, you're more likely to be there, to put that effort in. Whereas if your mom and dad are saying you need to go to school and then you have to take one of my history courses as an elective, you don't want to be there, you're not going to put that effort in. You're just going to show up and be a nameless, faceless body in my room if you show up at all. And that's not to say that all first-year students who come in after high school aren't passionate or care. There's definitely a lot of them who are. But I find every time I've had what we call mature students, they're fantastic.
I think I would have done a lot better had it been in person in class, that I had to go and sit down for the lectures and learn that way. I'm a very visual learner, hands-on learner, and the professor sending us slideshows and telling us to read the textbook is not
Helpful.
would only Zoom once a week and he would answer questions.
What if your class was presented to you live, but it was virtual? So you are tuning in at a certain time of the week to a lecture that's happening virtually, where you can interrupt and ask questions during the lecture.
Oh, I thought that was what it was going to be. But yeah, so that is my education journey. So I started my business when I was
Youngling.
I think 22, 23, I started my own business.
Why didn't you go to college? Don't
'Cause-
laugh like that.
Like me and my dreams, by the time college rolled around and I had been accepted,
You decided you didn't want to do it anymore?
yeah,
Okay. I figured.
yeah. So,
That's fair. You're allowed to change your mind.
yeah,
I always tell my students, especially because in university you got 4 years. Your first 2 years are kind of where you're figuring out. Like, you know what you want to go into, but the amount of people who have changed their university path in their first 2 years, like, it happens all the time. And I always tell students in their first year, you're not stuck. Like, you can change your mind.
I was very young when I applied for the college, and I think I got intimidated. That
Is
was
this what-
in my early 20s. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I did not apply. I was waiting essentially for the law school in our town to open up. Well, I was waiting for the law school to open up, and I figured, well, I waited for that. I'll just take a gap year. And then when the law school finally opened, I saw that the tuition for law school was going to be about $50,000 a year.
Yep.
And I would need, obviously, the 4 years of undergraduate before I even went into law school, if I got in. And I was like, ooh, I just kind of want to work now and figure out what I'm going to do, because being a lawyer is out of my pocketbook. So,
And you're the kind of person who changes your mind about what you want to do so often.
oh, daily basis.
I will never forget that day you texted me going, there's a bus for sale. I want to buy it and travel the country in a bus.
I'm very impulsive, but my impulses don't tend to come to fruition because they come on so quickly. So...
That's what this podcast is, isn't it?
It was.
And why does it come to fruition, Bailey? How do things get done, Bailey?
Because I've had you as a friend for 18 years.
Who literally runs your life sometimes?
Yeah.
We share a Google Calendar. We're at that point. Actually, we share 2 Google Calendars, not even one. I moved to just outside Vancouver. And I did a 2-year Associate of Arts degree at Capilano University in North Vancouver, which was great for me because I came from where we live in Thunder Bay, which has very few people, and then suddenly would have been forced into classes of 200 to 300. So this was a very nice small group. Class sizes were 50 max, which was great. After I did that, I kind of focused on English and history, but it was more of a general arts thing, and I took pretty much everything I could because I didn't know what I wanted to do. Then I went to the University of British Columbia. My credits transferred from the first university to the next, so I entered into 3rd year, but there was a lot I had to make up, so I did 3 years there instead of just 2, and I got my undergraduate degree in ancient Mediterranean studies. I minored in anthropology, also museum studies. I graduated 2018 from there, and I moved to Toronto, and I did a 2-year master's degree in Near Middle Eastern civilizations, studying ancient Mesopotamia. And then now I'm doing my PhD, and I'm going into year 7 of my PhD, also in Near Middle Eastern civilizations, same department as my master's. And yeah, that's my education. It has been a very long journey.
Yeah.
I'm ready to be done. So as you can see just from us talking about this,
2 ends of the spectrum.
very different journeys here. The next one was, what schools did you go to? Which certificates and diplomas do you have? Do you have any other certificates, like dog grooming certificates or anything?
So dog grooming is a unregistered profession. So we don't actually get certificates. There is a level of certification I can go for to become a master groomer, but you can go and get your professional bathing, and then there's 2 tests for that. And then you can go on to your master groomer, but it's not required to run a business. So as much as I would like to go for the training, it would be great to have. I've also thought of looking at things that relate to animals and the work. So I had looked at canine massage, because I can actually do that remotely and then just go away for 2 weeks to do the practical testing. And then I can get my certificate as a canine massage therapist. I was also looking at learning how to sharpen blades, like our cutting blades and that.
Oh, I just envision you sharpening swords as like a blacksmith. I never know with you, honestly.
But so then that way, because in the town we're in, we don't really have many sharpeners and we have to send ours away all the time. I just thought that that might be a good secondary skill to have.
Yeah.
To help my business currently.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Do you have any other certificates or things that are not dog grooming? You've had a lot of odd jobs.
I have had a lot of odd jobs.
Did you ever have like safe food handling or anything like that? No?
No, not safe food handling. I never got my ladder certificate.
I have ladder safety training.
I know you have ladder safety. Imagine that.
I have a lot of ridiculous little things like conservation certificates. I have curatorship certificates, museum object handling, specialties in digital humanities, all that kind of fun thing. So I was just curious if you had any other courses.
No, I don't think I have any.
Interesting.
Any.
How many years were you in school, Bailey?
1 month.
I've been in school for, is it 13 years now or something gross like that? Something gross like that. What do you do for your career now? Is it related to your field of study?
No, but at the same time, you could say yes, because my field of study was more like an internship.
Yeah.
Than an actual educational, like university or college, because I started working at a grooming salon when I was 15 in high school. And I continued on with that until had several odd jobs. I was only doing it on weekends. And then I finally got into work at PetSmart, which was a great opportunity. And then they sent me away for training, and that's how I became a dog groomer.
Yeah, so you've had some training.
Yeah. So it's, I don't know, I would look at it more as an old school internship to learn. But as a formal school setting, no.
For me, yes, it's related. So I work as a teaching assistant. That's related as part of my school. Is a requirement of my degree. I also work as assistant curator at a heritage park, which is going to be featured in one of our upcoming videos, which I guess this one's coming out in August. So it'll be a couple weeks from now that will be dropping. So yeah, my career is pretty related to my schooling. What advice would you give to someone entering your field?
For someone entering the dog grooming field, don't limit yourself with the fact that we aren't registered. Always push yourself to go out there and get more information, learn about different things. Everyone's going to have a different opinion, but our industry, the dog grooming industry, is still very much evolving at a rapid pace. And so all of the information that's coming out, all of the techniques, everything, it's just...
Is it beneficial to start in a shop like PetSmart or a smaller store? Like, should people seek out a mentor?
I would definitely recommend starting at a place like PetSmart. PetSmart, I found, did great with their training program. And it also teaches you how to work in a fast-paced environment, whereas in a lot of individual groomers don't. I also found that PetSmart puts a lot of pressure on you And that, in a way, is also very good in the field to see how you work under pressure because it can be quite stressful. And there are a lot of opportunities, even through them, to further dog grooming. Mm-hmm. So I highly recommend them.
Fair. Yeah. My advice, museums and academia, they're both awful for getting a job. Don't go into that field thinking you're going to get a job. I've said this countless times and I'll say it again. And when we talk with Vicky, we also talk about this. You can go into it, you can get the degrees. That doesn't mean you're going to work in the field, but you need to find a way to make those skills you're getting applicable to other things, which can be really tricky for someone who's been in academia for so long because you think one way, and the workforce is a totally different dragon that you have to slay. And it can be a little overwhelming and scary, but if you're passionate about it, there's no reason you shouldn't do it. So the next question is, what was your favorite class? You took a couple classes. Did you have a favorite?
Yeah, I actually really liked philosophy.
Yeah, any particular philosophy course?
I took a philosophy course on the supernatural and the occult. I liked that one.
Okay. My favorite was a course in my master's called The Archaeology of Death.
That tracks too.
Yeah. I mean, I also really liked sex, lies, and violence in the Hebrew Bible. That was fun. And I enjoyed my museum conservation course, my museum curatorship class. There was a lot of fun courses. Did you have a least favorite class?
Ooh. Not really. I mean, it wasn't very long.
What about high school class?
Math.
Yeah, well, that's a subject.
I'm not a... I did not like anything to do with numbers.
Fair enough. It's funny because you run a business. Mine was first year English. We had to write an essay about women in technology, and I had nothing to say, which is funny because now we're women and we're doing technology things. Most favorite assignment? This extends to high school too.
I didn't really
care for school.
I got good grades, but I never really cared for anything I did in particular.
My favorite assignment in high school was when you turned Italy into an island.
Oh, then if I may say, in high school, it was something, I didn't do it, you guys did it, but you made me into a mummy.
Oh yeah, that was pretty great. It was a whole vacation in Egypt around mummifying Bailey. We won an award for that.
I quite like that.
My favorite, I have a lot. Essays to me are just kind of typical. There's not one that really stands out. My dissertation actually comes out of an essay that I had written during my first 2 years of my PhD. I had to make a weather journal one, and that was a lot of fun because I like weather, and actually I thought about going into atmospheric science at one point. That was exciting. I enjoyed doing it. It was a lot of work. I am still a little bitter because the prof marked me down on it for a really stupid reason. And I'm not going to get into that. I like the museum things that I did. Nothing in particular to me either stands out. There's also least favorite assignment. I like the essay you wrote about how the poem had no imagery.
I always did my homework when my mom dropped me off at high school at 8 in the morning. So all the assignments I had due for that day, I would do at 8 in the morning until 9 when everyone started getting to school.
It's a miracle that you passed.
And I was on the honor roll for years. I can't remember if I graduated on the honor roll.
That's upsetting.
Yeah.
Anyway, we had to write an essay about a poem and its imagery, and Bailey wrote, "This poem has no imagery."
And the whole poem was imagery.
And still passed.
I did.
My least favorite assignment is anything mathy.
Yeah.
I had to take a computer science class once, which, to be fair, I got a lot of skills out of it, but I did not enjoy sitting there learning how to use Microsoft Excel.
Oh, yeah, no, I wouldn't enjoy that either.
Okay, so if you could do anything differently about your education journey, what would it be?
This this is going back, and it would probably rewrite my entire adult life.
It's hypothetical.
Hypothetical. I would never have taken a gap year. I would have went straight from high school to university and just did any sort of general arts and kind of figured out what I wanted to do from there.
Which is really funny because I was going to say the complete opposite. I wish I had taken a gap year.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I found that my drive after I didn't go to school dropped off. And for me, if there's momentum, I need to keep it going.
That's fair.
If I stop, I get too comfortable in one spot and then I sit there. And it makes going back for me very hard. So, yeah, I wouldn't do a gap year.
I think I went in not knowing what I wanted to do, which is totally fine. But it has meant spending many years trying to figure it out. And if I had taken time off and worked for a little while, I wouldn't be as in debt. And I would have had other skills and experiences to draw on now that would have been beneficial. But then I also have the same feeling you do, which is why I haven't taken a year off, is because I don't think I could get back into it. Like, even just over the summer, right now, it is really hard for me to get back into dissertation writing and to work on it. I wish, apart from taking a gap year or figuring it out sooner, that I had taken better advantage of the opportunities that were there. And part of that is that I wasn't fully aware of them all. I'm a first generation university student. My parents didn't go to university. My grandparents didn't go to university. I had no one I could draw this information on except for the internet, which is not always the most reliable. I found I was not prepared at all. And there are a lot of things that I know now that I really wish I had in the back pocket when I came in. Something as simple as knowing that it's okay to go to my professor's office and ask them questions, because I was absolutely terrified to do that. Now I just pop my head and go, hey, you got a minute? And things like that, like, it would have really helped me. And also, like, managing my workload a little better, I think. But yeah, directionality would have been nice. Because I could have done, archaeological excavations when I was younger, when I had more opportunities for that. I could have tried harder to work in other museums in Vancouver opposed to just here, which would have helped build my portfolio a little. And I didn't. And I didn't know those opportunities existed. And now I do. And now I'm over 30, so I can't take a lot of them. Oh, yeah. Do you think... We asked this question of our guests as well. Do you think that in high school you were being pushed towards doing university over college or anything else?
So when I was in high school, it wasn't necessarily the teachers pushing me to go to university. It was my parents. They very much have you work or you go to school. And that's where you're at. Like, if you're not working, you're going to school. If you're going to school, you're not working. So for me to be successful, and they wanted me to be successful, I was going after courses or programs that required university. I first wanted to be a vet, and I wanted to be a vet for the longest time, but my math grades are not good. So I switched once I took a law class, and then that's when I decided I wanted to be a lawyer. And so I think my parents were a big influence on how I thought about it all. Because even when I was considering going to the college for the culinary arts program, it wasn't... Eventually, they just kind of gave up. And as long as I wanted to go to school for something, they seemed quite happy about that. They just wanted me to go to school for anything other than what I was doing. So Yeah, I can't say that I felt more pushed towards university. It was definitely talked about more. It was shown more than the college. But for me, it was all outside the school.
I felt, as someone who in high school started in applied classes and then was very bored and ended up in academic classes, which branches off to college and university level courses in high school, and then did advanced placement in a couple, that I felt very much like if you were in academic courses, you had to go to university. College was not talked about. And if you were in the applied classes, there was no physical way for you to get to university. That was just accepted. So then it kind of felt like those applied courses almost had this, like, those people are not as academically inclined, so they can't be in university. Those are the problem kids, you know? They don't want to put the effort into learning. Every applied class, because I did applied math, we played cards in some of those classes. Like, we watched movies. The teachers did not care at all. Whereas when I got up to advanced placement English, it was a completely different world where you were suddenly whisked into a teacher who cared and put in the effort, and your classmates cared and they put in the effort, and it just made such a better learning environment. And I almost feel like the kids who are put in applied are almost set up to not succeed because they are assumed to be the problematic.
Yeah, because I was like you. I was told when I was applying for high school classes that I would do best in applied math.
Yeah.
All my other courses were academic, but math, they just wanted me to go into applied. And so I do agree with you where the academic or normal courses were more geared towards university, because when I said I wanted to be a vet and whatever, they told me that because I had taken applied grade 9 math, I couldn't just go from applied grade 9 math to academic grade 10. And that if I did applied math throughout, like, it would not be looked at all for university. So I ended up having to go back and take grade 9 math at the same time I was taking grade 10 math.
See, you were smart. I didn't deal with that until I was in grade 12.
Yeah.
And was like, oh, actually, I do want to try to get into a university that requires a grade 12 math credit. And they were like, you got to redo grade 11 math, even though I had taken a university accepted course.
Yeah.
And it was the same thing. Yeah, that was my experience. I'm not very quiet about this. I'm not the best student. I was told in grade 8 that I could do academic classes if I really tried, but I was better suited for applied. So I went in to applied math and applied English, and I did academic science because back then I really liked science, and then everything else was kind of in between. In my English class, we watched movies. And a lot of people in that class were people who had failed the year before, and they didn't want to be there. You could tell. And it was awful. Then the next year I said, okay, I can't do this again. I want to go to academic. So they're like, okay, go to academic. So I spent 2 years, grade 10 and 11, in academic English, and I was still kind of bored. And everybody I knew was in advanced placement. So then in grade 12, I was like, can I take the advanced placement? And they said, sure. And so I've done all 3 levels of English, which was like a crazy journey. And then apart from math, everything else, I bumped it up to academic because the applied was so boring for me. And then when I went to university, I got rejected by the University of British Columbia twice. I applied for my first year and after my first year, and I got rejected both times. They would have taken me in their Kenora campus, but I wanted to be in the Vancouver one because I was living with family. So I just said, you know what, I'm going to go to this other school. Yeah, so then when I did get into UBC, it was very surprising. And originally I was going to go in for music because I did flute lessons and things. And then I decided, no, I don't want to do music. I'm going to go into English and history, and I'm going to become a teacher, which is really funny. And then once I started at UBC, I realized, no, I really like ancient studies. And a professor who I absolutely adore said, what are you going to do after university? And I was like, I don't know, something. I told her, like, I'm thinking education because I have no other plans. And she said, why don't you think about doing a master's? So I said, okay. But I find a lot of people put a lot of emphasis on academia, and they don't need to, because you can be successful without ever going to school. Mm-hmm. It's not your only career path. And I find if you're not passionate about it, don't do it.
And that's, I guess, where they come in and say, if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life.
Oh, yeah.
I love what I do, but I hate going to work.
That's fair.
Because I don't want to work. But it does have to be something you're passionate about.
But you're not completely miserable when you're there every day.
Oh, no, of course not. I love what I do.
And you're proud of what you do.
And I'm proud of what you do. And I guess that's what it stems for. If you can be proud of the work that you can do at the end of the day, you've won.
Not all of us can be doctors.
No.
I know there's a lot of parental pressure to go and be a doctor or a vet or a lawyer or a dentist. I can't deal with people. There's a reason I deal with archaeology where people have been dead for a couple thousand years. Bailey doesn't like people. That's why she works with dogs.
Yeah.
But someone like our friend Judy, who will come and talk about her journey, she has that nurturing, caring qualities that it takes to be a nurse who's always dealing with people. Bailey and I are not meant to be nurses. So don't sell yourself short if maybe you aren't meeting those criteria that are set before you by other people. We all have skills, we all have likes, we all have dislikes. We can't all like the same thing. The world would be very bland if we all liked the same thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
we all like money, but life is short.
Life advice from the Whole Shebang. My last question was, which I'll ask everybody else, was it worth it? So for you, you didn't really go to school, but would you say that making your own business was worth it?
Yeah, it was worth it. I mean, I don't think I'd be who I am as a person, and I think you'll hear this in a lot of the other interviews. Mm-hmm. I am who I am because of the experiences I have had. Yeah. And, you know, you are who you are because of the experiences you've had. I'm old enough now to say that, sure, I may not regret not doing things, but I'm like, oh, you know, I wonder what my life would have been like had I done them.
I think we all have those moments.
Yeah, I regret nothing. I'm happy in my life and what I have accomplished for myself and what I do. So, yeah, what was the question? Was it worth it? Yes, 100% it was worth not going to university.
And worth starting up your own business? Not working for somebody?
I don't think I could ever work for anyone again. I get to set my own schedule. I work for you. And I find with owning your own business, the only thing you have to have is you have to be able to get yourself there and you have to be able to work. And that's pretty much it. Mm-hmm. But if you're not willing to work, then owning your own business is going to be a little hard.
Yeah, you need the drive.
You need the drive, yeah.
And yeah, for me, was it worth it? Sure. I think sometimes I regret some of the academic decisions I made. And I'm pretty honest about them. There's things I could have done differently. For example, when I applied for my PhD, I only applied to my current school because it was like, I was happy where I was. I wasn't ready to move. I didn't know what I was going to do otherwise. And even if I didn't go to school, I was going to have to move then because the job opportunities weren't there. But I think it was worth it. I just think there are other ways I could have done things to make it more worth it. but I might do those things in the future. One of those is doing a master's of museum studies, but I would also love to actually do more museum things within college setting because I feel like I'm missing a lot of the more practical. There are things I want to do. I don't regret what I've done, and they're easy enough to fix in the future. You can always go back to school and learn. There's no time limit. So I think in the future I would like to do those things maybe. I don't know where the world goes. I just kind of follow it. But yeah, it was worth it. I like what I'm doing. Most of the time. Maybe not so much right now that I've been writing for years. But you don't write a dissertation if you don't have the passion.
Exactly.
That's that.
So you've seen our perspective now. We are going to give you several different perspectives other than ours.
Yeah, in this episode right now, we are going to play Judy's interview. And then in our next episode coming out in 2 weeks, there will be some other faces. Let us know your thoughts. Give us your opinions.
All right, guys. Here we go. And now, in our education podcast, it's the Judy portion and her thoughts. Judy, take it away.
I have a series of questions. These are the same questions everyone's going to be asked and that I will also answer. Bailey will have trouble answering these questions, but you'll understand why in a second. Kind of. If you get them all right, Judy, you might win 5 Pokemon cards. So let's start off easy. What did you study in school?
I studied practical nursing.
Okay, what schools did you go to?
I started at Lakehead University, where I actually studied registered nursing. And then I went to Confederation College, where I studied practical nursing.
Okay, so then what degrees, certificates, diplomas do you currently have?
I have a diploma for practical nursing.
Beautiful. How many years were you in school for?
I was in university for a year and, well, technically 2 years. And I was in college for 3 years.
Okay. So then the next question is, what do you do for your career now? Is it related to the field that you studied?
Yes, I am doing home care nursing as a practical nurse, registered nursing. I did it at LU. Oh, I started out going to Lakehead University. I completed my first year -1 course. I failed. Then when I started my second year, they said you can't do half your courses without completing this one course, which I thought was silly because it was just a anatomy course. So I tried several different ways to pass it, and it just didn't work. Plus, I was going through some personal things at the time. And so about 3/4 of the way through the year, I just went down to half a course load. And then when I started going to college, about a year after, they said that I could transfer some of my credits. So I can't say my university courses were useless because it did help me make my first year of college easier, but it definitely didn't make me a registered nurse.
Fair enough.
Registered nurse. I'm still a nurse, but yeah.
So what advice would you give someone entering your type of program?
Oh, trust your gut. Because when I started going into the college university debate, my first thought was, okay, I'll do college because it's hands-on and that's the best way I learned. But everybody was all, university is better in every single way. And so I went to university, and even my mother said, no, I don't think that's the best choice for you. I think you'd do much better in college. But I had already signed up, and I had already done all the work to go to university, so I started. It made me very uncomfortable, and I was very uncomfortable in university. There were very large classes, not my style. It was a lot of independent research, which I again, not my style, so I was very out of my element. Meanwhile, when I went to college, I felt a lot calmer because we had smaller sizes, still about 70 people, but a lot smaller than 300. So I felt a lot calmer there. I felt that people were supporting me and that I had supports throughout the school. So that was actually another piece of advice I would say is look for support, especially going into college or university, because when I went to university, they didn't tell me about any supports at all around the university. I was literally just left to the wind. I'm sure they had some, but none of the teachers, nobody around talked about any of them. When I went to college, the first moment I went in, somebody suggested to me, why don't you go talk to this person? Why don't you go talk to that person? And I was supported in every which way right away.
I think that's more of an institutional issue because my first institutions were like that, where there was no support, and then now I'm seeing it a lot more, and also like my students are getting a lot more of it, so I think that it's changed.
But I mean, it could also be that they expect a lot more.
They do.
Too.
So something Bailey and I are going to talk at the beginning of this episode is whether or not you think there is a push to go to university, and university is the answer after high school.
Oh, I think there is a lot more push for university, because from what I remember from high school, we always had those little seminars or whatever you could go to. If you guys remember those, they had those little seminars that you could go to so that we could learn about all these universities or colleges. Well, I remember there being a lot more university ones than colleges. So, yeah, in Thunder Bay we had both a university and a college, thankfully. But I remember, like, we had Windsor College, we had York, we had York possibly, we had Lakehead University, and the only college I really remember hearing about was Confederation College.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just because I have a terrible memory, it's just because that's really the only one that stands out.
Yeah.
And I did go to those seminars.
Oh yeah, I did too.
Because I knew I would apply to both LU and Con College, but I also knew I wanted to apply somewhere else. So, but in the end, I ended up applying to other colleges, so I felt definitely pushed towards the university level. Of course, specifically when you go to the university, and I don't believe you can do this with the college, but if you go to the university, they have a university college track where you do some of your courses at the university, like all your lectures and such, but then you go and do your practical stuff at the college. I don't know why they decided to do it that way, but when I was in the course, that's how it was done. And then you'd go back to the university and do all your lectures again.
I think it depends on program for that too.
Yeah. I don't know of any other programs that did a half and half, but
My brother, when he was in computer science for a year, it was like that. Where after like year 2, he would have to go to the college because he was in the university. Which is just like, just go to college in the first place, right? Okay, so now fun questions. What was your favorite class?
oh, I think I would say my favorite class was my clinical class, which didn't even take place at the college. It was when we went to apply our skills in actual settings. So because you're a nurse, you're in a nursing course, you need to actually know how to do your job. So they send us to long-term care, to the hospital, to rehab hospital, and they would put us together with a clinical instructor, and then we would go and practice our skills under their supervision. So that was always my favorite because A, it wasn't a lecture, and B, we got to actually do stuff, and that's how I learned best.
Okay, so what was your least favorite class? I think we could probably guess.
University anatomy, because nothing wrong with the teacher. I had known her from another class, but she was teaching us anatomy terms in Greek and Latin, and I don't see the point in it, and it never stuck. And yeah, it's, of course, I never passed that course. I said, that did not go well.
So this might take a little recall, but what was your favorite assignment you had to do?
Ooh, okay. Okay, so the only assignment I can think of was when I did a half year of the PSW course. Didn't complete it, I just did a couple courses from it. But they asked us to do a diet plan. And I remember, like, it had to be a certain amount of calories, had to be a certain amount of food, and it had to fit within a certain diet plan, obviously. So I was matched up with this older gentleman who was taking the PSW program. And I remember we worked together on it. It was actually a pretty good result. I mean, I'm not a dietitian, so, but I thought it was really cute. Like, we actually had to take pictures of what the food would look like and all that.
Well, that's fun.
It was actually one of the more creative things I had to do in college.
Was there an assignment that you remembered that you didn't like doing? Something from the anatomy class.
No, actually, because the anatomy class was completely lecture. I will say there was a clinical portion of it, but that wasn't my least favorite part, and that's a whole other segment. But what I found to be my least favorite part was during a clinical segment. I had one time when I was asked to complete a skill, and I wasn't taught how to do this skill. It was kind of like a deviation of the skill we were taught, but I didn't know how to do it in the correct manner. I was supposed to do this with one of the nurses, but my teacher came in and she told me that, okay, it's time to do the skill, and I'm like, I don't know how to do it. She's like, you're gonna try. It's like, okay. So I started setting up, and when you're doing tests, sometimes they tell you everything has to be sterile. And she said, well, you already broke sterile field. You're going to have to go to clinical practice and redo it. It's like, what are you talking about? I mean, I had set it up all right. And then the moment that I got to the part I didn't know what to do, she didn't try to teach me anything. She didn't try to help me set up the next part. She didn't try to help me with what was going on next. So when I went to the clinical practice, and I know I'm being very vague, but it is nursing and it's privacy. So when I went to the clinical practice, I told them, okay, this is the skill she wants me to practice. And they said, and then I did it for them. And they said, you did just fine. Why did she send you here? And it's like, because there's a deviation from it that I didn't do correctly. And I said, well, that doesn't help. It's like, thank you. Can I go now? So since then, I still do my sterile techniques, yes, but the deviation was, yeah.
Scrapped.
Yeah, it was really unnecessary. When they send you to the lab unnecessarily, that was what made me upset.
Fair enough.
So I know it's very vague, and maybe you cut that section out because it's so vague, but
No, it's fine. I think it was good. I have 2 more questions, Judy. So if you could do anything differently about your education journey, what would it be, knowing what you know now?
oh my gosh, I'll go straight to college. Forget the university.
Yeah, I think that's
It would probably save me a lot.
time, money.
This family would have saved me a lot of
You
money.
can talk, it will pick you up.
I know it'll pick me up. I just have nothing to say.
You're just like weird and silent, like hovering in the corner, and we have 5 of these.
If I had gone to college first, I think it would have saved me a lot of time. It would have saved me a lot of money. It would have saved me a lot of headache also in the end, a lot of things happened during my first year and a half of university, and if we want to make an episode about that another day, we can, but that's not a today thing. But a lot went on that year, and I think I would have handled it a lot better if I was at the college and not stressing out and trying to self-study at the university. So I think that would have been my main change.
You had very specific circumstances.
Yes.
Okay, last question. Very serious.
Uh-oh.
Do you think it was worth it? Your education.
Yes, because I love doing my nursing. Because I love nursing. Am I going to do it forever? Who knows? I do sometimes think of changing my career a little bit, but I think that nursing was definitely a great idea. Again, like the university thing, sometimes I regret it a bit, but I mean, it's also made me who I am, so.
Fair enough.
I would still take it back at times, but.
Yeah, financially, that
Financially, it probably would have helped. Honestly, what I did for university, I wanted to forget it so much at that time. I didn't even wait for them to send me a bill for the university. I just paid off my university debt before I got into college.
fair.
So I don't know if that was a good idea or a bad idea, but I just said forget it. Just
Wash your hands with it, yeah.
just wash my hands free of my university experience. I'll take the credits, but that's all I took.
I just thought of a bonus question. If you were to have a midlife crisis and go back to
Now-
school for anything that's not nursing, what would it be?
I've actually already discussed this with several people, and if you're thinking like a whole new course,
Yeah, you could do anything.
Okay, if you're thinking a whole new course, I don't know exactly. I know if I would just take like single courses, I would want to learn sign language.
I think we've talked about that
Yeah,
one.
I know I've talked about that with you. But I would love to learn sign language. I've been looking online at online courses for voice acting, and I know pretty sure I talked about that one during the French quiz. So those are some other courses I would do. But
Go
if
to
I'm thinking-
acting school.
I don't know if I would go and act on stage because the college gave me a theater club that I'm happy with at this time. So that was also another good experience. I've also learned that I like acting as a volunteer / fun basis. I don't want to become a professional actor because then you lose the fun. I wouldn't mind trying voice acting, but not on stage.
Fair enough.
But as for a whole new job / course thing, I probably wouldn't mind trying my hand at tourism.
Fair. I mean, if you get flight deals, even better.
Well, I mean, you also see some of the things that happens on planes. Sometimes you don't want to be in
True.
it.
Very true.
Well, you don't have to be a flight attendant,
No, that's
but
true.
you can just be like,
A travel agent.
True. Try to get you the best deal on a flight.
exactly, friendship discount.
Yeah.
And I'm not going for that course just yet.
We'll be waiting.
Like I said, there's voice acting and sign language. Before that, you guys got a long time to wait.
Okay, that was all my questions.
So until next time, guys, cheers. That's all for today. Catch us on Instagram, where we drop teasers for the next show, and our Discord account. Links are down below.